Salvete discipuli. Today's video is the first lesson in chapter 18 in Latin for the new millennium. And we're actually going to learn the sixth and final tense in the active only, and that is the future perfect tense. We'll be learning it for all conjugations, including sum and possum, because as the third tense in the perfect system, it forms the same way for all verbs, right? Remember, the perfect system doesn't have any of the kind of differentiation in pattern the way that the present system does. So like all tenses in the perfect system, it forms the same way for every single verb. Yay! You form the future perfect active indicative by putting the future perfect endings on the perfect stem. Right? You form the perfect by putting the perfect endings on the perfect stem. You form the pluperfect by putting the pluperfect endings on the perfect stem, and now future perfect, same pattern. The future perfect tense is a way to be able to say that there's going to be completed action in the future. The future perfect tense, we do have it in English. It's not incredibly common, and it's not incredibly common in Latin either. So you have to learn it because you will encounter it. But just like in English, it's actually fairly rare to hear someone use the future perfect tense in English naturally, but it happens. So, and it happens in Latin, so you have to learn it. So there you go. The way that the future perfect tense translates is will have blanked, okay? So using the verb to love in the first person singular, it would translate, I will have loved. And again, that shows completed action, but in the future, okay? And there are certain things that you can definitely say are going to happen in the future, right? By tonight, the sun will have set, because it happens every day. And that's something that will be completed, but in the future, okay? All right, so you put the perfect, pluperfect, or future perfect active endings on the perfect stem, which you get from, just as a review, removing the I from the third principal part. The future perfect endings are nearly identical to the future form of the verb esse, to be, but they're not completely identical because there will be a different ending for the third person plural. Okay, so I review with you the perfect active endings here, the pluperfect active endings here, and here are the future perfect active endings. Aro, aris, arit, arimus, aritus, erent. So again, if this were the future of the verb to be, it would be aro, aris, arit, arimus, aritus, erunt. The future perfect is nearly identical, but not completely identical. Okay, so again, just another way for you to conceptualize how to form the future perfect tense. Perfect active stem plus a row, perfect active stem plus a ris, so on and so forth. And again, this is to sort of stimulate all possibilities and increase your ability to think about how to form the future perfect tense so that you are more likely to remember and memorize it. Okay, so I have a couple of paradigm verbs. I have a first conjugation, and then I have a third IO, and then I also show you sum and possum. Okay, so our first conjugation verb, sto, stāre, stetī, statum, means to stand. I review with you here the perfect active endings, the pluperfect active endings, and now I also have here the future perfect active endings. So sto, stāre, stetī, statum. If you remove the I from the third principal part, you get stet. That's your perfect stem. And it's going to be stetero, steteris, steteret, steterimus, steteritus, steterent. So I will have stood, you will have stood, he, she, or it will have stood, we will have stood, y'all will have stood, they will have stood, so on and so forth. Okay. Capiō, capere, cēpī, captum. You take off the I in the third principal part. Your perfect active stem is cape. And again, it's capero, caperis, caperet, caperimus, caperitus, caperent. I will have taken, you will have taken, so on and so forth. And remember, even an irregular verb like sum, esse, futūi, futurum, in the perfect system, works the same way for every single verb. So if we take the I off of our third principal part. Our perfect active stem is fu. So it's fuero. I will have been. Fuoris. You will have been. Fuoret. She will have been. Fuoremus. We will have been. Fuoritus. Y'all will have been. And fuorent. They will have been. Okay. And then finally, possum, posse, potuī. Again, third principal part. Take off that I. Your perfect active stem is potu. And you have potuero, potuaris, potuarit, potuarimus, potuaritus, potuarent. So I had been able, you had been able, etc. Okay? All right, so make sure that you've taken good notes on this, and make sure you've copied out the charts. I know that there are quite a few and that it can be tiresome, but they're good for your soul, if not good for your hand. And I will see you in class. Walete.